All right, y'all, let's have some fun here. Let's have some fun. We all know there's been a right wing civil war brewing for a long time, and there's many moving parts to it. You got Trump versus DeSantis, which we've talked about endlessly. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene versus Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz. You had a fight over Kevin McCarthy. You had Republican media splitting, Steven Crowder versus Ben Shapiro in the Daily Wire. Well, now this is all coming to a head because Marjorie Taylor Greene has snuggled up to Trump, and the Trump campaign made a move that infuriated Marjorie. So she flexed her power, she flexed her connections, and she ended it. So look at this. Marjorie Taylor Greene goes wild on potential Trump hire Laura Loomer. Quote, mentally unstable and documented liar. So what happened was, according to the reporting I've seen, Trump was either on the verge of hiring Laura Loomer or did hire Laura Loomer for his campaign. And Marjorie went to the big guy and said, this one's evil. And then Trump axed her. Wow. Okay. So let's dive into it here. Controversial Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene went off on Twitter regarding new reporting that former President Donald Trump wants to add far-right activist Laura Loomer to his 2024 campaign staff. In her Twitter post, the Republican firebrand slammed Loomer as mentally unstable and a documented liar. Greene pointed to Loomer's attack on her for supporting Kevin McCarthy for House Speaker, as well as her refusal to endorse Loomer's failed campaign for Congress as a representative of Palm Beach County in 2020. So she says, Laura Loomer is mentally unstable and a documented liar. She cannot be trusted. She spent months lying about me and attacking me just because I supported Kevin McCarthy for Speaker and after I had refused to endorse her last election cycle. She loves the alleged FBI. I don't know what the rest of that says. But anyway, she's quoting this article here. Trump moves to hire Laura Loomer, anti-Muslim activist. Additionally, the Georgia Congresswoman speculated in her tweet that Loomer tried to get on board with Ye's presidential campaign after his meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, but was ultimately rejected, which caused her to flee to the former president. She accused the extremist anti-Muslim activist of loving FBI informant and weirdo Nick Fuentes, even though Taylor Greene herself embraced the white nationalist when she was one of the surprise speakers at AFPAC, America First Political Action Conference, a conference led by Fuentes himself. That's true. So Marjorie Taylor Greene snuggled up to him, and then Laura Loomer also snuggled up to him, but Marjorie Taylor Greene severed ties after she got criticism for it, and Marjorie Taylor Greene severed ties, and Laura Loomer did not. Okay. Marjorie Taylor Greene concluded that she will inform Trump of Loomer's past, directly disagreeing with the former president's choice for hiring. Per the Times report, Trump has not hired Loomer yet, and some of his aides have concerns over how her inflammatory rhetoric would impact the campaign. Yeah, but whatever you could say about Laura Loomer's rhetoric, Marjorie Taylor Greene's rhetoric does the exact same thing. They're the same person, which is why they hate each other so much. Loomer cheered about 2,000 refugees dying while crossing the Mediterranean. She has argued that Islam is cancer and said Muslims should be barred from being able to run for office, and was banned from Twitter for hateful conduct policy violations in 2018. In response, she handcuffed herself to the entrance of Twitter headquarters in New York City. I remember that. Do you guys remember that? Okay, but now I got more for you. So look at this. Livid MAGA figures dogpile Marjorie Taylor Greene for trashing Laura Loomer as potential Trump hire. MAGA World feuded on Friday after the New York Times reported that far-right President Donald Trump wants to hire proud Islamophobe and far-right flamethrower Laura Loomer for his 2024 campaign. Loomer, whose long-documented history of controversial statements saw her banned from social media, blah, blah, blah. You guys know this part. So let's see some of the reactions. Give me some of the reactions. Loomer hit back hard, accusing Greene of having a close relationship with avowed neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes. So I love their attack on each other. Is like, you love Nick Fuentes. No, you love Nick Fuentes. You both love Nick Fuentes at one time or another. Don't lie. And hiring Milo Yiannopoulos as an intern in his office. Yiannopoulos later told NBC News he was, in fact, the architect behind the plan to have Trump sit down with Fuentes in the now infamous dinner. NBC's Mark Caputo reported Yiannopoulos told him he set up the dinner so Fuentes to give Trump an unvarnished view of how a portion of his base views his candidacy. Okay, interesting. Let's get to the fighting, y'all. Let's get to the fighting. Give me the fighting. Loomer raged in her reply to Greene that the only liar is you. You hired the foreign national who set up the dinner at Mar-a-Lago, and you spoke at AFPAC, where you were more than happy to embrace Fuentes, Loomer added, referring to Yiannopoulos and Greene's notorious address at Fuentes' white nationalist conference. Ye asked me to work on his campaign, and I said no, because I told him I endorsed Donald Trump, but I support his right to free speech. You are a liar, Loomer continued. Oh, I love how catty they are. I have screenshots of you telling me you want me in Congress and that you were going to endorse me. You only changed your mind once you made deals with McCarthy. You're a disloyal liar, and you're working with someone who said he wanted to make Trump miserable by setting him up at Mar-a-Lago. Ali Alexander, this head case, this guy thinks he has like magical powers. We've covered him saying stuff like that on his podcast, which like 3 people listen to. Ali Alexander, another prominent figure in MAGA world, quickly jumped to Loomer's defense and confirmed on the record that Greene knowingly attended Fuentes' white nationalist conference in February 2022. So we got these are all the dregs of far-right MAGA world desperately vying for relevance, trying to snuggle up to Daddy Trump and coddle his ball sack so they get, they get some notoriety. Ali Alexander says, MTG says one thing but does another. They're like high school girls, bro. This is amazing. I can confirm that her attendance at America First PAC was not organic. It was planned, which the press has suspected but never had a source. I can confirm on the record now. She was courting Nick's support. They made him edit part of his speech. MTG says one thing but does another. Okay, we already covered that one. And then you got, the media's all over this. Jonathan Swang, Maggie Haberman. Loomer has twice lost congressional races in Florida and is known for her close affiliation with longtime Trump confidant Roger Stone. Laura Trump grabbed headlines in 2020 for campaigning alongside Loomer, who was famous at the time for calling Islam a cancer and protesting outside Twitter's headquarters with the yellow Star of David attached to her clothes to compare her alleged censorship to the Holocaust. Oh, I love it when they fight, man. Oh, I love it when they fight so much. The funny thing to me, this is the best part to me. It's not like you think Trump is in tune with all of these ins and outs. No, he's not in tune with it. Now, Trump is close to Roger Stone, who's close to Laura Loomer, right? So there's one connection. And he probably was listening to Roger Stone's advice when he wanted to hire Laura Loomer, but he's also close to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been sucking up to him relentlessly. And so he's got dueling loyalties. This is like Game of Thrones type stuff, right? Like Trump is the Mad King. Roger Stone and Marjorie Taylor Greene are part of his small council, right? They're all like sycophantically loyal to him, and he's getting pushed and pulled in both directions. I guarantee you, he goes in the direction of whoever the last person is he had a conversation with. So clearly, Roger Stone came in him first and was like, "You got to hire this gal Laura. She's great." And then, he's like, "Okay, sure, that sounds great, whatever." And then Marjorie Taylor Greene comes him after and says, Mr. President, she's a liar. She's a terrible person. She's going to stab you in the back. She wanted to work on Ye's presidential campaign. She's linked to FBI informants. Like, okay, whatever, fine. Don't hire her. I don't care. What does any of this matter? Look, the serious point to make, though, is this. If Donald Trump somehow manages to get a second term, he is surrounded by even worse charlatans than were there in his first term. I mean, this is the dregs of the dregs. This is like D-list online far-right influencers who are now snuggling up to the halls of power. Like, this is 5-alarm fire type stuff. These people should be nowhere near any position of power. And of course, Trump is the leading figure for the primary, right? For the Republican primary. And so he's a real threat to win the general election, even though he's a weaker general election candidate. But like, man, they're messy. I remember when I naively believed that like only the left does infighting. They're just as bad as the left is, except they're significantly dumber. All right, guys, that's the show. I love y'all very much. Thank you, as always, for listening to me babble. I truly appreciate it. Everybody, do me a favor. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button. Leave a comment. All that fun stuff. You can listen to the full audio podcast over on Spotify if you'd like. We post the shows there every single day. And support the show on Patreon, man. We deeply appreciate it. I don't ever talk to any advertisers or corporations or anything. You guys support the show $2 at a time, $5 at a time, whatever it is. If you want to go crazy, $7 at a time. Link in the video description box below. You can donate there. And also you can support Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack down there as well. All right, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a great rest of your day. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.